Having spent half of his life living under a bridge in Lagos, Nigeria's largest city, Liya'u Sa'adu considers himself the guardian of the many homeless people who have joined him there. Over 60 men now live in this tight-knit outdoor community beneath the bustling and noisy Obelende Bridge, as even the cheapest housing has become unaffordable for them. Mr. Sa'adu, now 60, offers guidance to newcomers, often young people from distant towns and villages, on how to navigate life in Lagos, where it's easy to fall into crime or drug use. "It's my responsibility to guide them," he says. "It's easy to lose your way here, especially without family around." Like most of the bridge's residents, Mr. Sa'adu speaks Hausa, the most common language in northern Nigeria. He arrived in Lagos from the small town of Zurmi in Zamfara State in 1994, but all his friends from that time have either passed away or returned to their hometowns. Tukur Gubra, a 31-year-old from Katsina State who began living under the bridge 5 years ago, says Mr. Sa'adu's advice has been invaluable. "He's like our elder brother. We need his wisdom because it's easy to get into trouble in Lagos," Gubra explains. The area is now called Karkashin Gada, which means under the bridge in Hausa. "When I arrived, there were fewer than 10 people here," Mr. Sa'adu recalls. Adamu Sahara, who has lived near Karkashin Gada for over 30 years, says homelessness in Lagos is on the rise. Insecurity and economic hardship are driving more people from northern Nigeria, he says. "Our leaders need to address this issue because no one should be sleeping under a bridge." Mr. Sa'adu, the longest resident of Karkashin Gada, has no plans to return to Zamfara, where rising crime and kidnappings have left economic opportunities scarce. To make life under the bridge as comfortable as possible, he has acquired a mattress, bedding, a wooden cabinet, and a mosquito net. He sleeps on top of the cabinet, which helps keep him safer at night. Some of the other men have even fewer possessions, sharing mats that they roll out on the ground. Despite the tough conditions, theft is rare, as there's always someone around. The men use a nearby public bath and toilet for a small fee, and they rarely cook, instead buying food from vendors selling northern dishes. Over 3 decades, Mr. Sa'adu has worked his way from being a shoe shiner to a scrap metal seller, earning about 5,000 naira, $3 a day. While this is above the extreme poverty line, it's barely enough to survive, especially as he sends money to his family in Zamfara. The number of homeless people in Lagos is unknown, but some NGOs estimate it could be as high as 500,000. Recently, the Karkashin Gada community has faced raids from the Lagos State Environmental Task Force, which considers their presence illegal. Arrested individuals risk fines of up to 20,000 naira, $12, a week's income for many. They come at 1 or 2 a.m. to arrest us. Where do they expect us to go? Mr. Gubra asks, urging the government to address the housing crisis. However, there are no government programs to shelter the homeless in Nigeria. Instead, the focus in Lagos is on helping low-income workers buy homes. For people like Mr. Sa'adu, housing in Lagos remains out of reach. Renting a shack in an informal settlement costs around 100,000 naira, $48 a year, while a small apartment in a working-class area can cost as much as 350,000 naira, $220 annually, often requiring a full year's rent up front. Faced with these challenges, Mr. Sa'adu has resigned himself to living under Obelende Bridge. "Given my job, it's impossible to save enough for a decent place," he says. "I'm used to the sound of cars. It doesn't affect my sleep, especially after a long day."